Hello and welcome to Video Game Hangover. I'm Randy Dickinson and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Hey, I'm DJ Ross. I'm in Mountain View, California.
On every episode of Video Game Hangover, we talk about the games that have been keeping us up at night. This week we are playing Sword of the Sea, the Plucky Squire, and Arctic Awakening.
Hey, and who's playing Silksong? Nobody? Anyone?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Well,
I beat it on the first day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me too.
It was easy. It's a piece of cake.
It's so easy. So easy to find things and know where you're going.
You didn't find the secret map? I found the secret map.
Yeah, well, I know immediately. I was just like, oh, yeah, the secret map. Why didn't I think of that?
But no Silksong for me.
I really think this is gonna be one of those cases where I want to go back and play Hollow Knight before playing
the first one. Yeah.
Well, I saw some comments that were saying it was geared towards people who were experts at Hollow Knight. So that made me think it's one of these things. Although I don't know how much of that is actually the case, or if there were a lot of people who had just heard good things about Hollow Knight, so they decided to jump into Silksong without knowing that it is a very challenging game. So I don't know. It's hard for me to gauge how difficult it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But either way, I think I would prefer to play Hollow Knight completely through if I were actually going to play Silksong at some point. Were
you good at Hollow Knight? Were you adept at playing it?
I feel like I was pretty good. I enjoyed the boss fights. It wasn't an easy game, but I felt like it was. I liked it. I liked it much better than Metroid Dread. Just to compare it to a random game, I found the boss fights in that to be completely obnoxious. But in Hollow Knight, they felt very fair and engaging.
I didn't make it through either of them, so I cannot compare and contrast.
Yeah. It's weird because I was like, man, I think, if I were to sort of think back on either of those games, I really enjoyed Hollow Knight. I did not enjoy Metroid Dread, but I finished all of Metroid Dread.
Oh.
So what happened?
I don't know.
Metroid Dread had a better map, maybe.
Also,
there was no exploration required in Metroid Dread. It would just point where you needed to go, if I remember correctly. I do kind of want to play Hollow Knight, but that's neither here nor there. We're not playing Hollow Knight this week.
Not this week, nope. What are we playing this week? Monday night we're going to stream Monday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are going to play Lego Voyagers, which is a brand new co-op Lego game. Comes out this week. Have you seen this? Well, I know you've seen it, DJ.
I was going to say, I didn't even know this existed until an hour ago.
Oh.
When you mentioned it was coming out, and you said, there's a new Lego game coming out. So I thought, okay, why? I know what a Lego game is, but then I looked at this, and it's, very different.
Very different. Yeah, so this is not the Traveler's Tales Lego Batman games. Those are fine.
Right.
And there's a new one of those coming too, actually. It looks really fun.
Of course there is.
Of course. So this is...
Wait, which one is it? I haven't really kept up on the Traveler's Tales Lego stuff. What's the new Lego game coming out?
The new Lego Batman is Legacy of the Dark Knight. And I think it goes through all the... every iteration of Batman.
Okay. I was they haven't just mined this Batman in entirety yet. I don't know.
Keep finding new ways to go back to that well. But they had a trailer for it that came out of the Gamescom last month, and it looked super charming. So,
okay.
But yeah, no, the new one is Lego Voyagers. It is a 2-player co-op. You each play a little 1x1 tiny little Lego brick.
You're not even a guy in this. You're not. One block.
Just a tiny little block with an eyeball on it. And you have to work together to build things, to solve puzzles, and to progress and stuff like that, and to go on a voyage. And it looks.
I was already sold just seeing that your character is a block with just the single eyeball on it.
Still eyeball.
Like, oh, okay, well, let's see what this is like.
Just waiting for somebody to step on him.
Probably.
They're published by Annapurna. It looks charming and cute. Early reviews have been really good. And it's one of the cool co-op games, online co-op games, where only one of you actually needs a copy of the game. The other one can download a free little like friend pass to play along with you. So DJ and I are going to play this Monday night, September 22nd at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Go to twitch.tv/VGHangover and tune in and watch us check out LEGO Voyagers.
Yeah, tune in to watch me do a little freeloading off of Randy's LEGO Voyagers.
I'm happy to do
it. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Otherwise, I would be able to play it. So I think it is co-op only. I don't think there is an ability to play it single player. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So super smart that they put that little pass in there so you can play it with another human being.
Yeah. I was, I feel like I'd much rather play this than what was that other co-op game that came out? Was it this year even? Split Fiction? Does that sound
Split
right?
Fiction, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that looked really cool, but then the more I read about it, they're like, oh yeah, the game's really good, but the story is really obnoxious. And it's like, from what I played of that studio's previous game, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
it was
I'll skip
It Takes
this one.
Two, right? Was there other
It
game?
Takes Two, yes.
Yeah.
Which
played
was
that
like
together.
The game was super fun.
Yeah.
And like it did co-op in a way which I found really satisfying in a way that a lot of other games that claim to be co-op do not achieve. But God, the story was so grating. I was like, I can't play a single minute more of this game.
Yes. I think we were in agreement that when we were doing the puzzle stuff, the co-op-y stuff, it was fun. But any scenario where we were in a scene that was doing like story and character exposition was just like, was painful.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was actually shocking how like just abrasive it was. I can't remember the last time I played a game where I was like, I gotta shut this down. I can't do it anymore.
I usually save that for Grand Theft Auto games where or I'm like, I just wish everybody would stop talking and let me drive the car.
Yes.
Yep. So hopefully LEGO Voyagers, well, I can attest LEGO Voyagers completely dialogue-free experience. There's no dialogue. So there is no potential of these little LEGO bricks talking your ear off in between scenes.
That's good.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move. Published by Annapurna.
You should just take a decade off from voice acting, but see how that goes.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, published by Annapurna.
Yeah. That's it. That's my observation.
That's it. Well, it's factual.
They don't make annoying games. Everything they do is art.
Is that true?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm not prepared to dissect that. I'm
just chumming the water, DJ. Just throwing stuff out there.
Okay. They made that one game that I don't like. I'm not going to get into it.
I'm sure there's one I've played that I don't care for, but I can't think of one off the top of my head.
This will be good, though.
Yeah, definitely. Looks good. So this is LEGO Voyagers Monday night. That is September 22nd, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune in, won't you?
Yes. Oh, well, I mean, I kind of have to.
You have to, yeah. It all falls apart if you don't.
They should make more games where you can like co-op them by yourself. I don't know how that would work. You just play. I mean, you're only a little Lego brick. How complicated could that be?
Yeah. I want to play. Speaking of games that came out last week that neither of us are playing, I'm kind of interested in Borderlands 4. Because I've liked the previous, I've enjoyed playing the previous Borderland games.
I was biting my tongue so hard like 30 seconds ago to not talk about Borderlands, but here we are.
And I really like the appeal of those games historically for me has been playing them co-op with friends. You've played them single player, I believe, right? Is that accurate?
Yes. I played a good deal of, I played all of Borderlands 1 in single player, except for maybe a few hours in the middle where I tried the co-op. and I decided that wasn't essential to my Borderlands experience.
No. So, yeah, I'm kind of into Borderlands 4, but I don't like the likelihood of finding friends that are available to play that entire campaign co-op with me. Seems difficult. So, yeah, Lego Voyagers feels achievable. It's not 30 hours long or something. So, I don't know that I'll get to Borderlands 4 because I don't know that I would have fun playing it by myself.
Or maybe, I don't know. I mean, you're probably looking for different things in Borderlands than I am.
Yeah.
Huh.
That is another game where any of the conversational bits in between shooting and driving are not interesting at all.
So I remember really enjoying Borderlands 1 and then Borderlands 2. I felt like they really sort of kicked up the story and like all the characters. And I was fine with it the first time I played it. And I remember I went back to it at one point because I wanted to try a different character. And I just realized, I have to like sit through all this like voiceover again.
Again.
Yeah, and then I stopped playing it.
Yeah.
But I really, like shooting-wise and sort of like gameplay-wise, I still enjoyed those quite a bit. And I was wondering,
totally.
Is there some equivalent to a Borderlands game where I don't have to sit through all the wacky back and forth between the characters? Because that did sort of wear out its welcome after a while.
Yeah.
And also those
I don't have a recommendation for that,
enemies that would just swoop down at you randomly and fly away, and you have to wait for them to fly back so you can shoot them. This incredibly specific issue I had with those games.
Yeah. I remember that being a thing in Borderlands 1, that when you're driving around the open world in the little buggy, there were big bat things that would attack you.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to like mount a gun on your car and shoot them out of the sky and stuff like that. And none of that was fun either. So I don't know. I really like the core gameplay loop of like having cool guns that light things on fire or freeze things or, whatever your elemental of choice is.
Yeah.
And, fighting against a bunch of dudes and getting, they did the upgrade XP meter really well, where, alarm bells would go off every time you upgrade and you get all kinds of new loot. And you and 3 of your friends are spending most of the time staring at menus trying to figure out which gun is better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was another thing that didn't work well for me, that aspect of the co-op. But I don't really know a way around that.
No, I don't. I remember with all friends, like, is everybody ready? Are we ready? Can we play? Are we ready?
Yes.
Trying to get them to just get out of the menu. Get out of the menu.
There was like I forget if it was in my Borderlands group or if this might have been in one of the Diablo games, but there was this rule where it was like, okay, you like can't look at your loot until we get back to town, because then everybody's going to look at their loot. We're going to do all the sort of like housekeeping stuff, and then we'll go back into the dungeon. But like we can't just be stopping every 30 seconds. You can compare stats on the new sword you found.
Yeah. No, we did not have that rule, unfortunately. But that would have been smart. Somebody should have taken some leadership in that scenario and made some house rules. But
I don't know how well we stuck to it, but it does seem like a good idea.
Yeah. In the desert around a vending machine, trying to figure out, is this gun better than this gun? Does anybody want this gun? I'm going to throw it on the ground if nobody wants it. Yeah. Good times. So, yeah. Interested in Borderlands 4. Don't know that I'll get to it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I want to play whatever the non-Borderlands version of it is.
What is the other thing like that? Yeah.
No, there's got to be something. I'd be surprised if there isn't, but I just haven't heard of it.
Yeah. Wait, maybe our listeners can recommend something.
What is, I don't know. Last time I asked you for a recommendation, you just told me to play Anthem, and that was not helpful, so. You're on my blacklist now. Yeah.
I tend to sort of like confuse all of those like looter shooters. Division, Anthem.
Yeah, no, that was Division. That's what we decided. Yeah. I'm going to play the Division.
Okay.
No.
Yep. No, there's no joy in the Division.
There are lots of guns though.
It also, it is 1 million guns, but it is bleak. And again, from my perspective, best played with another human being as your co-op partner.
Yeah, well, that might be a sticking point.
Yeah. Plus, playing a video game where parts of the United States are under government control. Maybe doesn't feel fun right now.
I saw a lot of people making that observation about Battlefield 6 while the beta was going on. And I'm trying to remember the exact comment they made. But they're like, oh man, it's weird that they're making a game that suggests that, the downfall of the United States is due to some sort of like external forces invading the country and not just like a complete collapse from the inside. So like,
Right.
Well, their video games are supposed to be escapism on some level, right? So maybe that's what we want.
No one asked for this. So, any other show business? Would you like to get to games?
We can get to games. Playing anything interesting?
I can start with Arctic Awakening. This is a bit of a detour. How did I come across this game? I'm not sure if you're on. I'm on a billion mailing lists for all of these like publishers and developers, and I'll be honest, I don't read all of it because there's a lot of press releases, and I'm not interested in playing every game ever made. But I got a press release and a trailer for this game, Arctic Awakening, a couple weeks ago, and it looked really cool. Had some pretty strong like Firewatch vibes, which is a game I really adored from a couple years ago. I think you did as well. They were looking for some folks who wanted review codes for it. So I said, hey, if you want to send me a code, I'll play it and I'll talk about it. So that is this. This is a brand new game. This comes out this Thursday. It is called Arctic Awakening. You play an airline pilot who crashes in the Arctic, and you get separated from your partner. He jumps ship before the plane goes down, and you go down with the ship. So you're at two separate places somewhere in the frozen wilderness and trying to find each other. The only companion you have for much of the game is your court-mandated therapy bot, which is a little robot that flies around with you and tries to get you to talk about your feelings.
Okay.
And yeah, from there it's barely a survival sim. Like, it doesn't really spend a lot of time trying to get you to like eat or get out of the cold or et cetera, et cetera. It has a very sort of specific story it's trying to sort of tell. And you do ultimately have to find food and kind of take care of yourself sometimes and build a fire so you don't freeze. But like none of the fail states in the game that I've found thus far hinge on you doing those things.
Oh, those are all just like story beats, essentially.
Kind of, yeah. Okay. So it's
like Firewatch, kind of.
I think it's kind of packaged as like a survival type of game, but the survival part feels very automatic. It is more about the story and the characters and all the stuff that's sort of going on. So it is kind of near future sci-fi-ish a little bit. The environment obviously is very sort of woodsy and frozen and lots of interesting like weather and stuff like that. But as you're sort of wandering around looking for resources, you start to kind of unearth a bit of a story that is about sort of like secret government installations and mysterious things happening in the woods and et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, it's really, I don't want to give a ton away, but it's kind of interesting. And there's a lot of cool little like teases and a lot of interesting kind of lost kind of things happening in the woods. And you're trying to put together the pieces of what happened here. And was there another plane that also went down in the same place and why? And on and on and on. And I don't want to say too much because it is best to, I think, kind of dive into it and enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah, I've had a really good time playing it. I'm super into the story, kind of into the characters. The little robot thing's a little goofy, but he has definitely sort of shown his worth over the course of the game. It's you get a lot of character exposition about the main character. His name's Kai, his life before and what led him to sort of be on the plane and why he's estranged from his family and why he has a court-mandated therapy bot and stuff like that. And yeah, interspersed with little beats of you finding mysterious things in the woods and strange things happening while you're sleeping and et cetera, et cetera. So it's it's cool and interesting and intriguing, and it's not scary. So if anybody's afraid that this is a horror game, if that's not your thing, it's not really that. It is definitely more kind of a sci-fi twinge and a mystery of kind of what's going on out in the Arctic. And where's your co-pilot? So, yeah, it's really cool. It's very pretty. It's got kind of a cool cel-shaded kind of look to it. Really sort of aggressive weather animations, and it does feel very overwhelming sometimes. Your therapy bot tries to get you to do little self-care exercises sometimes where you'll get overwhelmed, or you'll get lost or misguided. You'll feel super turned around, and the game conveys that really, really well. And he'll recommend that you find a place to meditate. And it requires you sort of like going to a corner of a cliff overlooking a mountain valley and sitting down and like doing a little, breathing exercise mini game. And you get clarity on this. The color starts to come back to the world. You can see clearly the skies part, et cetera, et cetera. It's a little hammy, but it kind of works in the context of the game. And I think the game does a really good job of sort of conveying that confusion and that angst and that anger and stuff like that in the character. It's cool. It's doing some heavy lifting. It's certainly doing more than, I would expect from your average sort of survival sim. Yeah. So I really like it.
Cool.
Yeah. I have unfortunately run into a little bit of bad news in that I think I'm really close to the end of the game, and I've encountered a little bug, unfortunately, that is not allowing me to proceed. I'm playing it on the Steam Deck, and I'm playing it pre-release, so there's not a lot of places on Steam that I can get help. I've reached out to the PR guy from the dev, and he's been super helpful, so hopefully able to sort of fix this, and I can actually see the end of the game before it comes out. But based on what I've played thus far, I really like it. Curious to see how it ends and how the story sort of ties up. But yeah, other than that, it's a very cool game. And other than that, it also ran perfectly on my Steam Deck up until the point where it did not anymore. So,
and you're sure it's a technical issue? You're not just not grasping the solution to some puzzle or something like that?
Yeah, it is. The game is episodic. You get every episode when you buy the game. But it does have kind of mini episodes, and there's little time jumps in between each episode. And I'm at the start of a new episode, and you start sort of in the cockpit of the crashed plane. Typically, when you sit in the cockpit, if you turn your head to the right, you get a little prompt that says push button to sort of stand up, and you get up and you can walk out into the plane and out into the wilderness. And I don't have the prompt anymore. I can't get out of the fucking plane seat. So I'm stuck on the plane, and I've reset it a few times, and I've tried to go back, and there's an option in the menu to sort of like restart this scene. So I've restarted the scene, and it still won't let me get out of the plane seat. So everything else in the game works perfectly. I have total control of, I can pause, I can do screenshots, I can hear the robot talking, and he's waiting for me to get up and respond and go do something, and I can't get out of the fucking plane seat, unfortunately. So it's a little annoying, but hopefully it can be sort of addressed.
Yeah, maybe they'll take care of that on like a day one patch or something.
Maybe. They did say that there were a few things that were still sort of like required polish, and it's actually been patched once just in the pre-release time since I've been playing the game, but there are a couple of things that I know that they're still working out before the game actually comes out later this week. So I won't hold it against the devs. I know they're still kind of working through it, and hopefully that I'm able to sort of see the rest of the game and get out of my plane seat and solve the mystery of what's going on in the Arctic. But yeah, so far I like it. I think it's really cool.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
I did really enjoy Firewatch. It's been a while since I played anything like that. Is that true? I was just thinking, like, so for some reason I thought about all those like survival horror games that I played last October, which they're just like very narrative focused with lighter on the gameplay side of things.
Yeah,
it's a weird comparison.
It's definitely this. I think it's a lot of you just walking through the woods.
Yeah.
Like you'll get a little mission where it's sort of like, hey, today we're going to go explore here and see if we can find this thing. and et cetera, et cetera. And you will just walk through like mountain paths in snowy fields, and there's a mountain climbing animation and a mantling animation. You really just sort of push up against kind of the rock and you go into kind of an automatic climb. You don't really even there's no like mechanism or gameplay tied to you climbing over mountains and rocks and stuff like that. You do have to find different tools and things that help you proceed. Just little beats that require you to have the specific item in your inventory before you can proceed. But that isn't what the game is about. The game is not a mountain climbing sim, or it's not like a eat so you don't freeze to death, so you've got to find food, et cetera.
Yeah.
Like those things are fairly incidental.
You're not like managing a hunger meter or anything.
No, nothing like that. In fact, the HUD is actually super clean. There's very little on it, so you don't get a ton of that kind of feedback at all. Yeah, they sort of like the moments where that becomes part of the story are dictated by the story and not by some meter that has expired. So don't go into this thinking it's going to be Don't Starve. Because it's not that kind of a game. It's definitely more to your point.
I was just thinking, man, if I wanted to really manage a hunger meter, I'd be playing Don't Starve. But
right, yeah,
it's not what I want to do.
There is a game for that. Yeah, this is not that game. It is more about the story and the mystery and the characters and stuff like that. And I think it's done a really nice job. The really excellent voice acting. The main character, the character you play as Kai, is really kind of that's not entirely true. He's certainly the one who has the most pages of dialogue in this, and I don't know who the voice actor is, but he does a really nice job. And he has dialogue choices on like a little crosshatch. You can pick 4 different things to sort of respond to the therapy bot, and at some point you do get in touch with some other people and things like that. And so there's a ton of dialogue and a ton of voice acting that has gone into this, and the actor's quite good. He has to sing at one point as well, which is impressive. So this definitely, gentleman certainly earned his paycheck.
Nice.
But yeah, so this is called Arctic Awakening. It comes out this week. It's on Steam. It's on Xbox. It is on PlayStation. I don't know price. I was looking at price before I hopped on the mic tonight, and I don't know that they've announced it yet. But it is a very cool game, and would recommend if any of this sounds interesting. If you like a good walking simulator with a bit of a sci-fi twist, would recommend this, I think.
$80.
Oh no, I didn't realize it was a Nintendo game.
It's not actually $80. I was just
it's
looking at the eShop before we started recording. Yeah. Everything is terrible.
Yeah. So that was a weird little detour. But not something I had planned on playing, and then they dropped the code, and I was like, this looks cool, let's do this.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I did.
Cool. Yeah, well, might have to check it out.
Yeah.
Been a while since
I'll keep everybody posted.
A walking simulator.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't make them like they used to, I think. There was a period where there were a lot of these kinds of games.
That was like the big genre for indie games for a while. It was just like, oh, you can do a game that's just about dialogue and atmosphere. How novel.
And some of them were really good, and some of them were kind of boring.
Yeah. Which was the most boring walking simulator you played?
What was the boring one?
Is there one that stands out as just being the most boring walking simulator?
Oh, there was one. I'm not able to summon the name of it in my brain right now. I'll describe it. You were like walking through a park in a neighborhood and stuff and there were ghosts you could kind of commune with.
like a city park?
Kind of. I remember that being a part of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then into like homes and things like that. And there were like spectral like things that would happen from the people who had lived there or been there before. But like the movement speed was like at a snail's pace, and the devs took a lot of heat for how slow you walked when it first came out. So they put in a little modifier to let you move faster, and it was like hair faster.
That's funny.
What the hell was this game? Let me see if I
was that.
I will see if I can figure it out.
Was that Edith Finch? Was that?
No,
Ethan
I loved
Carter?
Edith Finch. Edith Finch is really good.
What's the other one?
Gone Home.
Gone Home. That wasn't Gone Home. Gone Home was better than that.
No, Gone Home's great. I love Gone Home. I really liked Edith Finch. That was really good. That's a very sad game. You have to be in the right kind of headspace to play that, I think.
Yeah. That's the other Annapurna game that nobody likes.
Maybe, yeah. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. That's the game.
Oh. Okay, well, we'll avoid that one.
It was a snooze fest.
Wait, maybe that's the Annapurna game? I can't remember.
It
They're
might be
all
an
Annapurna games.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Stanley Parable is a walking simulator. That's a very good game.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Beginner's Guide, also.
Can't think of a boring or a walking simulator that stood out as being especially boring to me. But maybe I've just had better luck. I never played Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
I just remember like desperately wanting to move faster, walk faster, talk faster. Like everything in this game is happening at a snail's pace, and it's making me insane.
Yeah.
Arctic Awakening is better than all that. Oh, maybe not better than Gone Home or the Stanley Parable. So that's not a accurate statement, but it's good. We'll see how it ages.
Nice. Man, speaking of games from that era, I played Sword of the Sea this week. Actually, I'm still playing it. I haven't quite finished it. But this is a game from Giant Squid, who is made up of a bunch of former That Game Company employees. They did Journey and Flower, and what was Flow, I think was the first one they did.
Oh, Flow. Yeah.
It just makes me think of like a bunch of games that came out around that time that were not your typical like pick up power-ups so you can shoot your gun or whatever. You're just, people were figuring out you could do different things with video games, especially in the indie space, especially in like Journey, right, where you're just a little guy walking around. So this is their latest game. I didn't play the previous one, the Pathless, I think it was called, but I played Abzu whenever that came out, which I remember enjoying quite a bit. It was the one where you were like a diver. You're just swimming around and interacting with sea life, I guess. I was actually really struggling to remember what you were doing in that game other than just, sort of taking in the scenery, because the whole game you spend swimming alongside like these schools of fish and like sharks and huge sea creatures and everything. But I remember thinking like, well, there must have been some like thing you were doing. Like, I don't think you were solving like, puzzles necessarily. There must have been some thing that was sort of like preventing you from progressing that you had to like deal with. But I don't remember what exactly you were like interacting with in that game. So it was very weird starting up Sword of the Sea, because it starts you off in like the desert, and there's no HUD or there's no annoying little puppet man hanging off your belt that tells you where you're supposed to go. You're just sort of dropped there and sort of just left to figure out what's going on.
So not unlike Journey.
It was, yeah. I mean, it felt very familiar if you played Journey. And I actually don't remember really what you're doing in that game other than just walking around and climbing mountains or something like that.
And there was like the thing where you could like slide in the sand, which was fun.
Yeah, well, everybody remembers that one sequence because like you spend a lot of the game, I think, just walking and jumping on stuff. But then there's that one section where there's like the whole sea of sand and you're sort of like surfing on it, and like it's like sunbeams are streaming through all this ancient architecture, and it looks really incredible. And that's like the gift that everybody shares about that game. And it's a really interesting comparison because that feels like they remember that scene and they just said, oh, what if we made an entire game that was sort of like inspired by that scene? So, like I said, you're in this desert, and there's tons of sand everywhere, and then you just are on a surfboard. Or it's not really a surfboard, but it's a sword. But you ride it like a surfboard or like a skateboard over these sand dunes, and that is just how your character like gets around. It's very weird because like you're still it's similar to Journey in that you're this sort of like cloaked figure who looks like they are part of some, like, I don't know, like isolated tribe or some kind of mysterious faction. And it feels like it should be very like mystical, but then you're just on a surfboard and you can like jump off hills and do tricks in the air, and it's like, oh, maybe this is just how the Journey guy like unwinds when he's not hiking through the mountains. He's just practicing his half pipe moves. But anyway, so you're just left in the middle of this desert. You have to try and figure out what it is you're supposed to do in the game. And I kind of like that because it starts out so sort of directionless, and you're just left to explore and just figure out what sort of stuff you have to do to progress. And eventually, it sort of becomes clear. You understand what you need to do to get from one area to the next, and there are all these ways to unlock, like as you are progressing, you are able to transform portions of the desert into like, well, it's not so much that you transform them, but you sort of like restore sections of them into like an ocean. So suddenly this one section of the landscape will be filled with like schools of fish and like huge towering like kelp. What do you call them? Like fronds, strands, I don't know, leaves.
Yeah.
And then it just turns into this incredibly surreal landscape where like half of it's desert and then half of it is like fish swimming through the air. And then you use your little surfboard thing to surf up the kelp and progress into the next area where there are more sort of like pseudo environmental puzzles for you to solve. And it's all just a very like chill experience. There are no like enemies chasing you or anything. You can just, sit back and like ride over some sand dunes until you're satisfied or whatever. It's a nice photo mode you can use to take pictures of all the other weird sea life floating around. But it really did make me think of the games back then where they were like, oh yeah, like Journey, I felt was a lot about just having this sort of spiritual experience in the desert.
Yeah.
Flower was a bit the same way.
Sorry to cut you off, but this Journey had the asynchronous co-op too, which I think felt not asynchronous. It was synchronous.
They were there.
Yeah.
It was.
But you couldn't really communicate. You didn't have chat, so you could like chirp or make little noises and stuff like that with your character to like signal to the others. But everything you did sort of had to be conveyed within the game. You couldn't like go here and push the button.
Yeah. There's not really, like Sword of the Sea is not really doing that. There's no co-op component to it. It really is just sort of like you by yourself in the desert. So that's what made me think of stuff like Flower or Abzu, because in Flower it was sort of the same deal. You were just like a bunch of petals or something like that, right? Just flying around, and eventually you would sort of solve the area you were in. I don't remember if you were doing something specific in Flower. It's been a while. But it was just kind of an experience. You were just there to, I don't know, take in the ambiance or whatever. There is kind of like a mythology to the world in Sword of the Sea, which you sort of uncover by or via these like tablets or kind of like monoliths that are scattered around. Like if you go out of your way, sometimes you'll find one. It'll give you a few passages of what seems like a poem or some like song that tells you a little bit about the state of the world or how it got to be where it is, which is cool. It's something that I don't know if I go out of my way to like find in a lot of other games that are maybe more straightforward with like their world building. But in this case, like the world is so mysterious and there aren't a lot of these things hidden around the environment that I've just been spending a lot of time just really like trying to explore every remaining piece of each environment before moving on to the next one, just to make sure I pick up all the different sort of mythology pieces.
And is it similar to the I've played Flow and Flower and Journey, obviously, and those were all, if I remember correctly, kind of wordless. You weren't picking up like, audio diaries explaining the background of what happened and yada yada. So you were kind of left to intuit what was happening in this world. Is it similar in Sword of the Sea?
Well, the little like tablet things that you find are written, so
Gotcha.
there's like that component of it, but there's been no like voiced dialogue. Occasionally, when you do encounter another character, there's no like conversation between them. They just sort of like gesture at each other or sort of emote. But yeah, there's like all the written sort of background has been through those tablets so far, which is nice because I like that about Journey. It was a very sort of minimal experience. You're meant to like interpret a lot of it for yourself.
Yeah, I appreciate that too.
And it feels like even though a lot of it, even though there's like there is actual written background in this, it's written or it's presented in a way that still feels like, oh, you do still have to like piece together and maybe extrapolate what is or like what happened before the game started, which I really enjoy. And it's so funny because the whole time you're just on a surfboard. Like you're just doing surfboard tricks. There are even occasionally there'll be a little side rooms which are just like chain together as many tricks as you can and try and beat the high score. And it's like, this feels so different than the other 90% of the game. It's very funny.
They're just trying to capitalize on the trend of all video games having surfing components in them now.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
All the kids are doing it.
It's not like, I don't run into one and I'm just like, why is this in here? Like it's sort of expected just because you're just like, you've ever played Tony Hawk or like SSX or whatever. It's the movement is so familiar that you just kind of expect like, oh yeah, at some point I'm going to have to like chain tricks together or let me see how many times I can, 360 while I'm in the air off this jump. But it's so funny because the rest of the game, there's like not really a HUD or anything. It's just when you go into these specific rooms, a little timer pops up and there's like a trick meter. It's like why is this here? It's very goofy.
That's great. And is that surfing mechanic fun? Do you find it sort of satisfying?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good. I don't know if it's like doesn't feel as mechanically precise as one of those other games that I just mentioned, but like it's not those games, so it's fine.
Right.
I don't think I played another game where, you were just on a surfboard the entire time. So it's also interesting in that respect. I just thought of another game where you're doing something other than like walking for most of the game. You're like not on foot. So you're just controlling your character in a weird way, which I really enjoy because it's just something else you have to think about. It's a different way of approaching a game. Yeah. But I like that they made a game where they just decided you're going to be on a skateboard. It's good.
So do you ever get off the sword and use it as a sword to fight dudes?
Not so far.
No,
no, you're mostly just riding it around and doing the occasional tricks.
A bold choice.
Yeah. But I'm really enjoying it. It is quite a departure from, other than this, I've been playing like Death Stranding. So, I mean, I guess it's not that dissimilar now that I think about it, because it's just, you're just sort of vibing. You don't shoot as many guys in Sword of the Sea as you do in Death Stranding, though. So, it's good. It's been a while since I played something like this.
Cool. Yeah, I don't think I knew that Abzu and those other games were the folks who used to be that game company.
It's not all of them. It's just, I think it's like one of the directors and I think maybe one of the, a few of the artists. But I don't think it's who was the guy, Genova Chen.
Right.
Who was like the lead. I actually don't know what he's been up to since Journey. Even I don't know if if he had a big release after that.
No, I'm not sure.
But I do like that they've got sort of this like they're doing their own thing, even if it does feel. I mean, I guess I don't say it feels like those other games as a slight or anything, because I enjoyed those. But I really enjoyed Abzu, and they've been creating sort of these just like non-violent sort of like atmospheric experiences. It's really good.
Cool. Sounds like fun. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like those other games. There was a period like during the PS3 era, right, where it felt like those kind of artsy games were what was kind of getting the headlines, I think, for the PS3 for a period. Yeah. And it was
because there was like, oh, imagine a game where you don't kill anybody.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it was surprising that the developers of those, I don't know if fizzled is the right word, but went on to other things and didn't continue just sort of like going to that well and making artsy games for PlayStation forever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think that was sort of their plan. It's like, oh, we made Journey, which is a smash success, and now we're just going to make like Journey 2 and 3. So in that sense, like maybe I'm not that surprised I didn't. Like I'm just not aware what their follow-up was.
I'm sure if Sony had their way, that would have been the case, right?
Yeah, yes, Journey the Revenge or whatever. But I also don't remember playing a lot of other games. Like after Journey came out, everybody was so in love with it. I just expected like, oh, who is going to make the next Journey? And I don't know if there's another game that came out that I would give that sort of title.
I don't know. There was a game, an online game. It's still a game called Sky Children of the Light. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah, no, I have heard of that. Was that actually that game company?
I don't know. Is it that part? I don't know. But it is a social MMO. It's free to play. It's on Android. I know it's on. I can play it on my phone, but it's also on like Switch and stuff like that. And it is similar, I think, to Journey in that you and other players like fly together and do things and go places and stuff like that. I've not played it clearly from my shoddy description of it, but I know that was a more recent game that was sort of in this similar vein to kind of those classic that game companies. Oh, this says it's developed by that game company. There you go.
Okay, so yeah, I think that came out. It was like mobile first or something like that, and then I was just like, I can't deal with it. Which is another reason why I didn't play Giant Squid's previous game, because I thought that was like, or anyway, it was very heavily marketed as like an iOS or maybe Apple Arcade thing, and I was just like, nope. But it also came out on like PS4, I learned recently. So now I'm thinking, oh, maybe I should have given that a shot.
Yeah, it says this Sky Children of the Light. It says the game emphasizes peaceful exploration, social interaction through emotes and shared spaces and character customization.
Yeah. Maybe I will check that out if it's on other stuff.
Connect with others to embark on adventures, all while enjoying a heartwarming story.
Oh. Well, sounds very wholesome.
Yeah. That's kind of what I would expect. So cool. I didn't realize that. Again, also did not realize that game company was still making games.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Sounds fun.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
People love that Abzu. I know.
Abzu was really good. I could not tell you what happened in it, other than there were a lot of fish. But it was it like there's not a lot of games that I will just stop and sort of like gawk at, sort of like the visuals, whether it's because like technically the graphics are very good, or like the art direction is just that level. But that was definitely one of those games where I just had to stop and admire the like hundreds and thousands of fish swimming around. Just some really incredible environments in that game.
Cool.
Anyway, what else we got on the list?
I could finally put a bow on my summer backlog attack now that the summer is kind of over. So I'm a little late to the party on this one, but I did get through most of the Plucky Squire. I think I have a little bit of that left to go, but it is delightful. I am glad I played it. It's a super cute game where you are a squire, and you go on a little adventures and stuff like that, and you have to sort of save the kingdom from an evil villain and yada yada. And you get some pretty basic kind of like sword fighting moves and stuff early on. But as you get a little further into the game, there is a revelation, and I'm not spoiling anything here because this is in all the marketing, that you're a character in a storybook. And through some magic spell, you are able to leave the book to go out into the real world. While you're in the book, it's kind of a Saturday morning cartoon animated kind of thing. And when you step out into the real world, it's 3D animation. It looks like a Pixar movie. You can like, you're tiny and you're in a book on a desk. So you get out and you can like interact with things on the desk and find resources and little tools that you need that you can then turn into 2D things to take back into the book with you to solve puzzles. Also, you get control of the book. You're able to sort of stand outside of it and you can turn pages to go to different places in the story to get things from one page 10 pages back to bring into a different page to help you solve a puzzle or a conundrum or vanquish a villain and stuff like that. You're trying to stop this evil wizard, of course, who is looking for a way to get out of the book himself, which would be catastrophic, of course. You've got two little friends who help you on your mission. They're super fun and outgoing, and they have little abilities of their own. And it's charming and funny and surprisingly kind of modern in its sensibilities. Gorgeous. Like, I marvel at how pretty it looks. I'm playing it on my Steam Deck, on the OLED Steam Deck. And there are periods where like the camera will pull back from the storybook and you get the full 3D effect of the book on the desk with all of the things on the kid's desk around him in the kid's bedroom and stuff like that. And the little squire will pop out of the book and turn into a little Pixar character and get out and run around. And there's puzzles you have to solve in blocks. And there's little, the kid's room that you're in likes collecting bugs. So there's little 3D rendered spiders and beetles and things like that you have to avoid. And it turns into, rather than you like sword fighting giant spiders, it turns into like a sneaking, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a stealth segment. Game? Yeah. Where you're a tiny little 3D animated squire who is hiding behind blocks and a stapler and things on the kid's desk to avoid a spider, so that you can get to some goal and some mission and things like that. Tons of little mini games that it drops in periodically. At some point when you're on the desk, you find what is clearly a Magic the Gathering card. You're able to commune with the character on the card, and they let you borrow their bow and arrow briefly. And they talk like they're in Dungeons and Dragons, essentially. It's super fun. So you take the bow and arrow back into the game with you, and there's a 3D rendered bow and arrow shooting game with giant mosquitoes that are trying to attack you, and it's super fun. So there's tons of little in-jokes, little pop culture references, all wrapped up in this super wholesome, very fun Saturday morning cartoon meets Pixar kind of thing, where if, I'm an adult and I think it's charming, but if I was, 8 years old and playing this, I would think this was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. It's really good. And it's surprisingly, what's the word? It's like full featured, in depth, like ambitious for, an independent developer. It's really impressive.
Yeah, I was so into this when they show the trailer, and it starts with you in the book, because they really nailed the art style of the 2D illustrations, and it shows the guy walking around, and I think there's even not narration because it's in a book, but all the text in the book is on the page, and you sort of walk around it as you're navigating through the book, which I thought was very clever. And then
and
when
that part plays into your ability to solve puzzles and get past obstacles in the game too, because the squire eventually figures out that he could pick up words from the sentences on the page and move them around. And it turns into a puzzle game there where you're trying to find the right combination of words that repair the bridge. Or there was one puzzle where there was a giant toad in the road blocking the way. So you had to take out the word giant from the narrative and find something teeny tiny to make him little so you could walk around him. Yeah, it was, again, just kind of smart and surprising. I didn't think it was, that was going to be a part of it. So when it turned out to be the solution to the puzzle was use your little sword to hack up the words and rearrange them, I thought it was kind of fun.
So how much of that sort of like puzzling aspect occurs when you're outside of the book? Because like in the trailer, they show him hopping out of the book, and it turns into 3D and everything, and I was just like, oh man, get back in the book. Like, it seemed like you're doing so much cool stuff in the book. I don't want to just play a game where you're a little 3D guy.
The game is mostly in the book.
Okay.
Yeah. You do leave it occasionally, and when you do, it's always on a mission to like go out and find this thing, or go out and whatever. But you have some goal to get something from the real world that you have to bring back into the book. That allows you to sort of like bypass or overcome some obstacle. So the missions in the real world, air quotes here, are seldom massive. Most of the story, most of the puzzle solving, most of the adventuring happens in the 2D storybook. Yeah. I imagine those 3D worlds are very hard to make and animate. And to your point, I think the game is much stronger when it's in the storybook. And the puzzles are much more satisfying, and there's more fun, goofy things they can do. I don't like getting out of the book nearly as much as I like being in the book.
I feel very conflicted about it because it looks like they did a great job still with like all the outside of the book sequences, because it looks really good. Like, graphically, it looks super clean, and it's also just conceptually incredible that a little character in a book can escape the book and do stuff in the world. But it's like so uninteresting looking to me when it's just it looks like any other video game. If I didn't know that he had like escaped from a book, I would not give it a second glance. But now I'm just like, just because they have like done this, they've done like such a groundbreaking thing and taking the guy out of the book, I'm still sort of like interested in it.
The first time it happens, it feels like magic, because you're like, whoa, that's really.
I feel like it would have been better if they had not shown that. If like the last chapter he hops out of the book, people would be like, oh my god, what is going on in this game?
Or I thought it would have been smarter to not show it in all the marketing.
Yeah, like, that's what I mean. Yeah, it was a big reveal at one point.
Surprise.
Yeah, I think like the stuff they showed from when he's in the book is strong enough. Like, people were interested in up to that point. So just having a reveal that, not the entirety of the game takes place in the book is just extra at that point. But I'm glad, it sounds like they don't rely on that too much, and it's still pretty novel. Yes. Yeah, I would say it's probably, and I haven't finished the game yet. I think I'm super close, but it's like 75-25, like in the book, out of the book. So most of what you're doing is in the pages of the storybook. And you leave occasionally. I think it's super satisfying though. I like it. I think it's, it looks to me like the Zelda games that were the remakes, the Link's Awakening, where everything looked like little plastic toys. Like the little figurine guy. Yeah. So I think they kind of nailed the look of it, and it's different enough clearly from the 2D animation in the storybook that it's quite striking. I like it. I think I don't begrudge them for doing it. I think it certainly adds an interesting kind of wrinkle to the story, and I think it is the right mix. I think it's clearly. I think the developers knew that what was going on inside the pages of the book is much more satisfying, and you spend most of your time doing those things. Okay, that's a relief here. Yeah. The other thing I heard about this game is that it was like kind of over-explainy. Like it would, I don't know how it sort of manifested in the game. Like it would just kind of like hold your hand a little too much, like the first few hours of every Zelda game.
Yeah.
But I also heard they've they patched it at some point to really dial that down because like a lot of people had that reaction.
Yes. So there's the sort of difficulty selection at the beginning of the game is kind of two screens. The first one is how difficult do you want like the enemy interactions to be, and then the second screen is how much like exposition and tutorials and hand-holding do you want. And you can pick like show me everything, or you can pick just be quick about it or something like that, and you can sort of dial back the over-explainy bits. Even in the context of the game, when you go into the options, there are a ton of things that you can turn off too. So where the game by default will like have little indicators that show you where to go and what's next and blah, 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 you could turn all that stuff off. So if you just want to like poke around and sort of stumble upon it on your own, and this is not admittedly a very difficult game. So you probably, as an experienced video game professional DJ, you don't need all of the stuff. Yes. So I started with kind of normal difficulty and just explain everything to me. And eventually got to a point where I'm like, okay, I don't need all of this. I know how to play a video game. I got this from here. So I was able to turn off the explainy bits and turn off all the HUD stuff and blah, blah, blah. So it's that stuff I know for a fact was not there on day one and had to be patched in later, but I think the game is stronger for it. And I think it's better at sort of reaching different audiences. Again, if you're 8 years old, you probably want some of that stuff. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know a lot of 8-year-olds. But I think it helps maybe for younger gamers to have the explainy bits and the things that hold your hand and to have the lower difficulty. But if you want something that's a little less intense about holding your hand, that option exists as well.
I did get the sense that like that was probably why they had explanations in there to that degree, where it's like, oh yeah, that's probably going to attract certain audiences where they don't want to leave them behind or anything. Yeah,
it is clearly a thing sort of geared towards younger players, I think.
Yeah. Good on them though for like actually going in and making it optional. Because I think a lot of people were having or sort of struggling with with just the amount that it was explaining stuff. I feel like every game should have that slider.
I agree.
Like even if you think you don't need it, maybe you still should put it in. Might be good.
Yeah. We've all had. Most of us, I think, have had the experience of playing Zelda games where it's like, hey, listen. And I'm like, I got it. We're 10 hours in. I understand how to play this game now.
Like, oh, is a red rupee worth something different 20 hours in that you need to explain to me? Then maybe don't tell me about it.
Right, exactly. So kudos to this developer whose name I don't remember for understanding that. I don't need a reminder of that at the 60% mark of this game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that was good. As soon as I heard that, as soon as I caught wind that was an issue in this game, I was like, oh, maybe I won't play it. But now that they fixed it, I was just like, oh, well, now I have no excuse.
Yeah. No, it's lovely. I've had a great time playing it. I saved it for last because I really wanted to like dive into it. And I've had a really good time playing it. I put like a lot of hours into it. And the very first day I played it. So it's good. And, like I said, it's the presentation of it is gorgeous. Music's really good. Just everything about it feels very polished.
Nice.
So I think there's definitely a benefit to not playing it on the first day, like I normally play video games, and to waiting a little bit for it to get kind of patched and cleaned up.
Mm-hmm. What are you playing this on? Is this on Switch?
I'm playing it on my Steam Deck, but it is also on Switch and PlayStation and Xbox. I know that for a fact.
I really don't know. I mean, I feel like game consoles are just so powerful at this point that, like, with enough sort of like production time, you can just have games look like anything. But it's still, it's so impressive just how like clean the 2D visuals are in the book. And then when you like take the book and drop it into a more or less photorealistic looking environment in the 3D sequences, it is just even that more impressive. So I was just wondering, like, do you lose any of that on the Switch? Like even on the Switch 2, because it's even though it's more powerful than the Switch 1, it's not like PS5, Xbox, whatever level of visuals. But just curious how it works out. If it runs on the Steam Deck, though, then probably a good sign.
Yeah, it runs great on the Steam Deck. I've not run into any issues with it at all. It is deck verified.
Yeah.
That stands to reason. Normally, the issue I have with games that have a text, any amount of text, is that it's so tiny on the Steam screen. I struggle with it a little bit, and the Plucky Squire does not suffer from that, and doesn't have a ton of text. Obviously, it's the text inside the book, but it's meant to be interactive. So, yeah, I think they were smart about making it big enough to get your hands on. Yeah, so it's going for like $20 right now in most places. I keep seeing even the physical version of it keeps popping up on like Slick Deals and stuff like that for $20. I think Target had like you could buy the cartridge if you are one of the people who still like buying physical games for 20 bones. So would recommend. It's not terribly long, but it's a super fun game, beautifully made. And if you have kids, this feels like a no-brainer. Get your kids to play this. I think they'd enjoy it.
Nice. All right, I'll get it for my kids this Christmas.
Get it for your kids, DJ. Yeah, do that. But yeah, the Plucky Squire would recommend.
Nice.
And thus concludes my backlog attack. I have now played all of my old games.
Oh, all of them. Okay.
All of them. Yeah.
Hey. Well, what are you going to do next year?
It's all new games. I don't know. I'm not sure. You know, I'll have to buy some old games to play.
It's just like we have to do the like reverse backlog attack. I don't know what that is.
I'm just going to play a bunch of games that aren't out yet.
Yeah, I was just going to say 4 games that they're still making. Although now that I say that, that's probably easier to do than you think it is.
It's the early access attack.
Yeah. Earliest access on day one. They're just like, oh, we haven't even finished the title screen yet.
All right. Let's wrap it up. We should remind everybody that we are going to play Lego Voyagers. Speaking of games that aren't out yet, on Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, go to twitch.tv/VGHangover for DJ and I to co-op the new Lego game together.
Wait, but it'll be out by Monday.
It'll be out by Monday, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just like, what?
On the day that we're recording this, it's not out yet. So
okay, got it.
Yeah. Got it. By the time we play it on Monday, it will be out. That's how we're going to play it.
We're just going to look at the Steam page longingly and be like, oh, wouldn't this be nice?
Just going to stream the trailer. If you need any more video game hangover in your brain in the meantime, you should follow us on Blue Sky, where we're VGHangover.com. And you can always get show notes and links and tell us what you thought about this episode at VGHangover.com. We would love for you to join us on Discord. You can hang out and chat about video games and other things. You can get a link to that at VGHangover.com. And we would encourage you, as always, to subscribe, rate, and review us on your podcasting app of choice. Maybe help us out by telling your friends about the show as well.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. Helps us get the word about the show, bring in new listeners. That would be great for you to do. Speaking of stuff that is great, I'm going to give thanks again to RJ Lake for intro and outro music this week. If you'd like to hear more of his work, you can go to spellmynamewithabang.bandcamp.com and listen to that whole discography. Maybe buy an album or two.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's good stuff. We'll be back on Monday night with Lego Voyagers, and then the week after with a whole new episode in your ears. Until then, this is Randy Dickinson.
This is DJ Ross.
Thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Goodbye.
Good night.
See ya.